Heavy sheets of rain cascaded from the darkened sky, saturating the ground and transforming the manicured grounds of the Whitmore estate into treacherous expanses of mud. The imposing mansion rose majestically before the tempest, its ivory facade and towering windows casting a muted luminescence against the turbulent heavens. Here stood a testament to affluence and distinction, embodying an existence that remained beyond most people's reach. Yet beneath the sprawling canopy of an ancient oak tree, directly before this monument to prosperity, an aged couple huddled together in the deluge, their garments thoroughly soaked, their silver hair matted against their weathered faces, their exhausted eyes sealed shut in fatigue. All they possessed was one another, and even this precious bond appeared vulnerable beneath the merciless torrent. At that precise moment, Alexander Whitmore, the millionaire proprietor of the estate, emerged from his gleaming obsidian sedan. He halted abruptly, his immaculate leather shoes creating ripples in the pooled water of the driveway as his attention fixed upon the tableau unfolding before him. His pulse quickened with astonishment. This scene was entirely unexpected outside his domain of opulence and grandeur. An elderly gentleman and lady, made delicate by advancing years and worn thin by life's trials, had collapsed in the downpour. An antiquated suitcase burst open beside them, its contents of yellowed photographs and weathered correspondence scattering across the sodden lawn. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the power of compassion to change the world, please take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Untold Stories 0.4. Your support spreads these stories of hope even further. Alexander remained motionless initially. Despite his vast fortune, he had never encountered such an unfiltered representation of human adversity. The elderly gentleman, his countenance streaked with grime and etched with decades of tribulation, pressed against the tree trunk as though it served as his sole source of support. The woman, her dress adhering to her delicate form, allowed her head to settle upon his shoulder, her lips parted slightly as if she no longer possessed the energy to utter a sound. Their fingers remained entwined, even as the tempest assaulted them without mercy. The surrounding storm appeared to diminish as Alexander's mind began to race. What were their identities? What circumstances had brought them to this particular location? He observed the suitcase once more, its scattered contents resembling echoes from a distant existence. A monochrome photograph captured the couple in their prime, beaming with joy and brimming with promise. A collection of letters, their edges curled and deteriorated, possibly containing romantic correspondence or documentation of a family now absent, alongside a threadbare covering, dampened and ineffective, offering inadequate protection against the frigid precipitation. The realization struck him with tremendous force. These individuals had once harbored aspirations and constructed a life identical to any other person. Now they had been diminished to this desperate state. Alexander had consistently taken pride in his self-reliant nature. He had constructed his commercial empire from nothing, forging his trajectory through calculated negotiations, unwavering dedication, and resolute determination. However, accompanying that ambition had emerged a certain callousness, a tendency to overlook suffering that didn't directly affect his existence. Yet in this moment, anguish wasn't located across the city or featured in a news publication or broadcast on a television program. It resided on his front grounds, positioned so near he could observe the raindrops cascading from their quivering fingers. Recollections of his own history began to surface within him. He too had once experienced deprivation, though he had concealed those periods beneath multiple layers of achievement and prosperity. He recalled his mother laboring through extended evenings, his father succumbing to exhaustion after grueling work periods, the manner in which his family had nearly crumbled under poverty's crushing burden. He recognized with startling and agonizing lucidity that this couple could have been his own parents had circumstances dealt them a different fate. As the rainfall intensified, Alexander finally advanced, his costly attire becoming thoroughly saturated. He knelt beside the couple, his voice fracturing as he attempted to reach them. The elderly gentleman responded with subtle movement, his eyes opening with bewilderment. The woman's hold on his hand grew firmer, as if she dreaded losing him. They appeared utterly depleted, completely drenched, and desperately hungry, clearly having traveled far beyond their frail bodies' capacity to endure. Alexander gestured with urgency for his household staff to provide coverings and heated beverages. His previously immaculate driveway now transformed into the scene of a humanitarian effort. He carefully assisted them to their feet, his powerful arms providing support to their fragile forms. Each movement toward the mansion felt like a profound acknowledgement that regardless of his achievements, His wealth held no significance if he couldn't employ it to elevate others. Within the mansion's comforting radiance, the couple gradually regained their vitality. The woman revealed her name as Martha, while the man introduced himself as Henry. They had forfeited their modest dwelling after accumulating overdue payments. With no alternative destination, they had wandered through the storm, carrying only the suitcase containing remnants of the family they had once nurtured, the children who had long since relocated to distant places and never maintained contact. They had been walking without direction, seeking refuge, when their bodies finally surrendered before Alexander's estate. As Alexander absorbed their account, his chest constricted with emotion. He contemplated his own estranged sibling, with whom he had maintained no communication for years following an acrimonious disagreement regarding their parents' estate. He reflected upon the occasions when he had prioritized commercial transactions over family celebrations, material gain over human empathy, and he understood that Henry and Martha's narrative transcended mere misfortune. It served as a cautionary tale of what might occur when bonds of affection and concern are abandoned. Throughout the subsequent days, Alexander guaranteed the couple received comprehensive care. Medical professionals arrived to evaluate their condition. Clean garments and nourishing meals replaced their soaked remnants and starvation. Gradually, as their physical strength recovered, so did their sense of worth. Martha's smile appeared more frequently, her weary eyes radiating with appreciation. Henry, despite his frailty, rediscovered his vocal steadiness as he recounted the era when he possessed sufficient strength to support his family. However, it wasn't exclusively Henry and Martha who were experiencing transformation. Alexander was changing as well. With each encounter, he felt the protective layers surrounding his hardened heart beginning to dissolve. He started dedicating less time within his office and more time in their company, absorbing their narratives, gaining wisdom from their years of perseverance, and in their presence he rediscovered something he had abandoned long ago: the importance of compassion over ambition, of human relationships over material accumulation. The moment eventually arrived when Henry and Martha possessed sufficient health to relocate to a humble cottage Alexander had acquired for them near his mansion. Though modest, it belonged to them, representing security, comfort, and acceptance. As he presented them with the keys, Martha's hands shook as she offered her gratitude in a whisper, her voice breaking with overwhelming emotion. Henry positioned his hand upon Alexander's shoulder, his eyes brimming with tears that required no verbal expression. As Alexander returned to his mansion, the rain now succeeded by brilliant sunshine, he experienced something awakening within him that no fortune had ever provided: tranquility. If this story has touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Untold Stories 0.4. Your engagement helps spread stories that remind us all of the power of kindness and second chances. Before you go, I'd love to know what's one act of kindness someone once showed you that you'll never forget. Please share your story in the comments below.